When the footage dropped, the internet exploded. Jim Jones, the Harlem rapper known for keeping his cool, had just dropped what fans are calling the receipts of the decade. The man in the clip wasn't yelling, wasn't arguing. He was calm, serious, and holding something that sent shockwaves across social media. A set of leaked screenshots and voice notes exposing Chrissy Lampkin's husband's dark secret. Within minutes, timelines were flooded with disbelief, outrage, and memes. Nobody saw this one coming for years. Jim and Chrissy's relationship has been the definition of complicated love, loyalty, betrayal, and public drama. But this was something different. According to Jim, he'd been sitting on this information for months, waiting for the right time to reveal what really went down behind closed doors. And when he finally did, the internet lost its mind. The clip was short, less than 2 minutes, but every second hit like a bomb. Fans replayed it frame by frame, trying to piece together what he was hinting at. What did Chrissy's husband do? Why was Jim so emotional, yet controlled? And most importantly, why now? Within hours, celebrities were weighing in, old friends were picking sides, and rumors were spreading faster than ever. But behind the scenes, this wasn't just about drama. This was personal. Jim's tone said it all. This wasn't revenge. It was revelation. And once these secrets hit daylight, nothing and no one would be the same again. The night began like any other, with Jim Jones scrolling through his phone, minding his business. But behind that calm surface, a storm had been brewing for months. He'd been quiet while people whispered, laughed, and speculated about him and Chrissy. The internet had already dissected every moment of their relationship, from their engagement drama to the rumors that she'd secretly married someone else. But what Jim found out recently wasn't gossip. It was betrayal, and not the kind you could just walk away from, according to insiders close to Jim. He had been sitting on private evidence for weeks. Someone had approached him with messages, photos, and even voice notes that pointed to something dark, something involving Chrissy's so-called husband and a hidden life nobody saw coming. At first, Jim didn't believe it. He brushed it off, thinking it was just another ploy to get his attention. But when he verified the sources, his heart sank. The man Chrissy had tied herself to behind his back wasn't who she thought he was, or who he pretended to be. By the time the leaked clip went public, Jim had already made up his mind. He wasn't going to stay silent anymore. The footage showed him sitting in a dimly lit studio, wearing a black hoodie, a bottle of Ace of Spades on the table beside him. The camera rolled as he leaned forward, looking straight into the lens. "I kept quiet out of respect," he said, his tone steady but sharp. "But when people start playing with my name, acting like I'm the problem, nah, we're not doing that." He held up his phone, showing a blurred screenshot to the camera. "See this? This right here is what y'all been worshiping. Y'all think y'all know the truth, but you don't." He paused for a long moment, letting the silence burn. "She married a man with skeletons so deep, even the devil took notes." Within seconds, the clip spread like wildfire. The hashtags #JimJones exposes Chrissy and #DarkSecretLeak started trending. Fans couldn't believe it. Some thought he was bluffing for attention, while others swore he was about to destroy her reputation for good. But Jim didn't post that clip himself. Someone from his camp leaked it, and that made the whole thing even messier. Inside Chrissy's circle, panic broke out. People close to her scrambled to find out what Jim had and how much he planned to expose. Chrissy's furious. One insider told gossip blogs. She's been blowing up phones all day trying to get ahead of the story. She says Jim's lying, but she also looks scared. By that evening, several more pieces of the puzzle began to surface. Screenshots showed messages between Chrissy's husband and a woman identified only as T. The tone was intimate, the kind that couldn't be mistaken for friendship. In one message, he confessed to hiding something that could ruin everything if it ever got out. Jim didn't say what it was directly, but the way he hinted at it made everyone start speculating about money laundering, secret children, or something even darker. As the chaos unfolded online, Jim's old friend Cameron went live, addressing the situation without naming names. "Sometimes people play with your emotions too long, and then they surprised when you respond with facts," he said. Fans knew exactly who he was referring to. The Dipset family had always kept things tight. But even they seemed divided on this one. By midnight, news outlets were chasing the story. Entertainment blogs reported that Chrissy's husband had deactivated his social media accounts and gone completely silent. Paparazzi camped outside their apartment waiting for any sign of her. Meanwhile, Jim had gone ghost. No new posts, no interviews, no statements. Just that one clip that had already been viewed over 6 million times in less than 24 hours. Behind closed doors, though, Jim wasn't celebrating. He sat alone in his studio, rewatching the video he'd made. His phone buzzed nonstop texts from friends, reporters, and even family, but he didn't answer. Deep down, he wasn't proud of what he'd done. He didn't want to be that guy, the one who exposed private pain to the world. But when someone plays with your name, when you've been loyal through everything, and still end up being lied to, silence starts feeling like weakness. Late that night, a message came in from an unknown number. It read, "You went too far, Jim. You don't know who you're messing with." He stared at it for a long time, then locked his phone. The warning didn't scare him, it just confirmed what he already knew. Whatever secret Chrissy's husband was hiding, it was something big enough that people wanted it buried forever. And the truth, that was only the beginning. The next morning, the story had already taken over every blog, gossip page, and trending topic across the internet. Jim Jones' video wasn't just viral, it had become the story of the week. The clip had been reposted by celebrities, dissected by YouTubers, picked apart by fans trying to decode every hidden meaning behind his words. But what they didn't realize was that the footage people saw was just a fraction of what Jim actually had. The real evidence, the full receipts, were still locked inside his phone by 10 a.m. Journalists were camping outside his recording studio. Cameras flashed as Jim arrived, hoodie over his head, expression unreadable. "Jim, is it true Chrissy's husband is being investigated?" One reporter shouted. "Are you planning to release the full video?" Another asked. Jim said nothing. He kept walking, his silence louder than any denial. Meanwhile, inside Chrissy's camp, tension was boiling. She had been on the phone nonstop, trying to do damage control. Her husband had disappeared from public view, and his friends were no longer answering calls. According to sources close to the situation, she'd been blindsided by Jim's accusations, but even more terrified about what could come next. She knew Jim well enough to know if he said he had proof, he meant it. Later that afternoon, Jim's longtime friend and producer Trav tried to talk him down. "Bro, I know you're hurting, but this ain't the move," Trav said as they sat inside the studio, the city's skyline glowing through the window. "You post more of that." As the online frenzy grew, Jim's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Cameron called, then Papoose, then even Fat Joe. "Yo, Jimmy," Joe said, his tone serious. "This ain't the way. I know you mad, but trust me, this could turn into something bigger. You don't know who that man really is. You stir the wrong pot, people start disappearing." That line stuck with Jim. You don't know who that man really is. He replayed it in his mind over and over. The more he thought about it, the more he realized this wasn't just about cheating or betrayal. The man Chrissy had married wasn't just hiding personal secrets. He was hiding dangerous ones. Late that night, Jim sat alone in his car, scrolling through his phone. He opened the folder that started it all. The messages, the voice notes, the bank statements, the photos. Each piece told a story darker than the last. There were transactions under fake names, offshore accounts linked to criminal organizations, and encrypted messages referencing deliveries and cleanups. Hit them all at once. Chrissy's husband wasn't just lying about another woman. He was involved in something criminal. And worse, Chrissy might have known. Jim clenched his jaw. He wasn't angry anymore. He was disappointed, heartbroken, and scared for her. He picked up his phone and recorded another video, but this time it wasn't for the internet. It was a message meant for Chrissy. "Look, I ain't trying to destroy you," he said quietly. I'm trying to protect you from what's coming. That man you think loves you, he's not who you believe he is. I ain't lying to hurt you. I'm telling the truth to save you." He never posted it. He just sent it to her privately and turned his phone off. Meanwhile, the FBI had begun monitoring online chatter. The leaked documents and screenshots from Jim's video had caught their attention, especially the offshore accounts mentioned in one of the clips. Federal agents reportedly contacted media outlets to remove certain posts, claiming ongoing investigation concerns. Fans didn't know it, but the story was now much bigger than celebrity drama. It had crossed into criminal territory by the next morning. Chrissy's husband's name was being whispered in. Connection to a multi-million-dollar fraud ring that spanned from New York to Miami, anonymous. Insiders claimed he'd been laundering money through shell companies, and some of the accounts were now frozen. Jim woke up to hundreds of missed calls and a single text from Chrissy. "You were right. That one message said everything." The walls were closing in. Jim stared at it, conflicted. He'd exposed the truth, but it didn't feel like victory. The woman he once loved was now trapped in the fallout of her husband's crimes. He hadn't just exposed a secret, he had opened a wound that couldn't heal by that afternoon. FBI vehicles were seen outside the husband's business office. Cameras caught the agents entering with boxes and files. Within hours, news broke Chrissy's husband under federal investigation. Following financial misconduct allegations, the internet exploded again. Jim didn't comment. He didn't post another video. He didn't even step outside. He just sat quietly, knowing that sometimes exposing the truth doesn't set you free. It just leaves you standing alone in the ashes. The footage had the internet on fire. Jim Jones wasn't holding back anymore, and this time the man everyone thought was Chrissy's husband had his entire life flipped upside down in a matter of seconds. The video showed Jim sitting in a dimly lit studio, his tone calm but sharp, like someone who'd been waiting too long to tell his truth. "Since everybody want to talk about me," he said, "let's talk about the man y'all think is clean." Then he dropped the receipts, screenshots, DMs, voice notes, everything that connected Chrissy's so-called husband to money laundering, extortion, and even shady deals that tied back to major street figures. Within hours, social media was chaos. Fans couldn't believe it. How could Chrissy have been with someone living a double life right under her nose? Jim didn't even name the man outright, but he didn't need to. Everyone connected the dots. People started flooding Chrissy's comments, demanding answers, while gossip pages dissected every second of the leaked footage. Even people from the industry started reacting, claiming they'd heard rumors about this man's secret dealings before but never had proof. Chrissy, on the other hand, was silent. Not a single post, not a single response. But silence spoke volumes. Sources close to her said she was furious, not just at Jim, but at how easily her entire life had been turned into a public spectacle again. "She feels betrayed," one insider said. Jim knew how to hit where it hurts. Meanwhile, Jim wasn't done yet. More leaks started surfacing, text messages where Chrissy's husband appeared to be threatening someone over unpaid debts. Audio clips where his voice could be heard discussing moving product. And even wire transfers that hinted at deeper criminal involvement. The evidence looked too real, too fake. "He's not the man y'all think he is," Jim said in one of his last posts. "I kept quiet for years, but when people keep pushing, you gotta remind them who you are." It was clear Jim was sending a message not just to Chrissy, but to anyone who thought they could play him. Still, many felt uneasy about how far he was taking things. Some fans accused him of going too far, saying he was exposing private information that could get people hurt. But others saw it as long overdue payback. After all the rumors, the lies, and the manipulation, Jim finally took control of the narrative, even if it meant burning bridges in the process. And yet, behind the confidence and the bold words, you could feel something else: pain. It wasn't just revenge, it was heartbreak. Every word, every post, every leaked clip screamed that Jim still cared deeply about Chrissy, even if that care had turned into resentment. It wasn't about clout or headlines, it was about a man who felt betrayed by someone he once built his life around. Now, fans are waiting to see what happens next. Will Chrissy finally come forward with her side? Will this mystery man step up and defend himself? Or will more of his secrets come spilling out? One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. Because in this game of love, loyalty, and revenge, nobody walks away clean. The streets are talking, the blogs are buzzing, and everyone's asking the same question. Did Jim just expose the truth? Or did he start a war that can't be undone? This entire situation between Jim Jones, Chrissy, and her so-called husband has completely flipped the internet upside down, and honestly, it's getting darker by the day. Jim didn't just drop petty drama. He exposed something that could destroy reputations, relationships, and possibly even freedom. But the biggest question still hanging in the air is why now? Was Jim driven by revenge? Or did he finally get tired of being painted as the villain while everyone else hid their dirt? Chrissy's silence is loud, and fans can feel that storm brewing. If she claps back, it's not just going to be words, it'll be receipts, emotions, and maybe the truth everyone's been afraid to face. And let's be real, the moment she speaks, the internet's going to explode again. But until then, all we can do is piece together the clues. Because this isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It's personal, it's raw, it's dangerous. So, what do you think? Did Jim go too far exposing her husband's secrets? Or was he justified in defending himself after years of being dragged? And if Chrissy finally responds, do you think she exposed his past in return?